Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. I'm joined today by Charlie from Wargames Atlantic. It's great to have you with us once again.
With jazz hands too.
Jazz hands, best kind of hands. And we're here to talk about something big, something massive coming from Wargames Atlantic. The Damned are going to be arriving on
something
Gamefound.
damned big.
Yeah, oh, I see what you did there.
It's catching. It's catching.
Very good. Very good indeed. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here.
There is,
very
yes.
much.
Yes.
And the first thing is, I suppose, the Damned themselves, if people are unaware, because there have been a few previews kicking about.
Yes.
What are the Damned?
So the Damned. Well, I won't get into the whole kind of backstory of the Damned, because we'll be here discussing the finer points of what civilization will look like in, 5, 6, 7,000 years or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But they are essentially post-apocalyptic sci-fi soldiers. They do still have a very kind of soldiery feel to them, I think, which is quite nice. They're not a ragtag band of complete and utter lunatics. They're an organized ragtag band of complete and utter lunatics. So I think for me, they are very they're very Mad Maxy. They've got this kind of very much a post-apocalyptic grungy feel to them. And yeah, there's everything from infantry to big, brutish, monstrosity, big guys, to different weapons, teams, platforms. Obviously, you've got a command element to it, and then hopefully after that, much, much more. But that's the initial. Let's get started with the Damned.
Happy days. So you're coming to Gamefound. Why pick Gamefound instead of some of the other Kickstarters that are kicking around there, Indiegogo, those sort of crowdfunding places?
Yeah, I think what's quite fun about Gamefound is, I think the key's in the title, isn't it? It's originally all about board games, but it does now cater for kind of a wider tabletop audience, for want of a better word. So the fit is there already. They're geared up around bringing games and anything that we as hobbyists would probably associate with one way or another. And then we also wanted to partner with the great guys at Mini Wargaming, and that is a platform that they understand quite well. And in all fairness, that's about it. It's about it. It just felt like a good fit. Kickstarter do everything from washing machines to books to movies, artwork, etc., etc. It's everything. Yeah. Huge platform. Whereas Gamefound is very much feels a bit more like home. It's a bit more comfortable. A bit more cozy, I think is the word for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why Gamefound.
I suppose it's easy to get lost in something like Kickstarter, where it covers so many different spheres, from people making coleslaw or potato salad all the way through to crowdfunding new TV series of Veronica Marsh,
which is awesome. That you can't deny that is a fantastic thing. But no, I think for this, it just felt right for it to be Gamefound. And there's been some phenomenally successful projects funded on that platform. It just feels like a nice, safe pair of hands. I think that's kind of the feeling I get when we're interacting with it. I've got it open here on my tablet, refreshing to see how many followers we've got at the moment, because that's key right now.
Always.
And I guess the spin-off from that question is also like, why crowdfunding? We're a fairly young company. We're only just over 4 years old, I think now.
Yeah.
But we have got a lot of product under our belts. I think we have 38 multi-part hard plastic kits in the world now. So we produced quite a lot in those 4 years. But we've got to do it at a pace that we can manage, which is, it comes down to resources at the end of the day. And the fun thing and the frustrating thing is we're not short of the physical resources. Like the factory's capacity is running at like 10-20%. It could be doing so much more. The resources that we need is manpower, time, and money. And obviously money is really the big driver when it comes to something like crowdfunding. So whereas if we were going to launch the Damned in a traditional way, we would put out the infantry set, and then the infantry would sell really well. And you think to yourselves, well, do we put out a supporting box, or do we do this other really cool infantry set that we've got ready to go that we all really get excited about and we know people will love? And it's really hard not to, make that commercial decision of, well, that's what's driving the resources to create more stuff. You're always striving to try and find the kits that are going to, they're going to be best received. And although, yes, you add in the cavalry or the weapons teams or whatever, it does boost the sales of the infantry, which is great. But it's still not that immediate one-hit win that you get from just dropping an infantry set. And I don't think we've ever been shy about, being honest about that. We would love to do everything. And that's why we're doing the crowdfunding. Like, that's the point, is we go from being able to do, one kit and then another kit the following month, etc., and maybe getting caught in that trap to, well, here's 4 kits off the bat, which is enough to build a reasonably small army for most of your reasonably sized army for most of your tabletop sci-fi post-apocalyptic games. To then hopefully, if it all goes really well and we've got tons of stretch goals prepared, there could be another 4, maybe another 8, maybe another 10, 12 kits after that. It's just going to depend on how far ultimately the community wants to take it.
Sounds good. And on that note, we should probably start talking about what's involved with the initial campaign goal then.
That's it, yeah.
We have some various kits that are coming, and starting off with the infantry.
Indeed. Painted beautifully by the Cult of Paint chaps.
Yeah.
I love this guy. This is funny. This was the test paint scheme. And this is the test model. And they were like, right, here's the test model. I was like, this is the test model? This looks fantastic. So immediately went to social media and shared it.
Yeah, well, the best way.
Yeah.
There's a Lloyd shot for Lloyd in particular.
But you get what you get where I'm coming from. They are very, very, post-apocalyptic. I think that's, for me, that's the overriding theme. They're sci-fi, but they have this real kind of post-apocalyptic feel to them. And
he looks like he's wandering around with Dirty Harry's gun there, just a nice big chunky revolver.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's great. Sculpted by the one and only Rob McFarlane, and I think you can really see his kind of style coming through in the sculpts. So they are multi-part plastic kits as well. So like the arms are interchangeable, the heads are interchangeable. Torso and legs are the only fixed things. There'll be some gubbins and stuff on the frames that you can gear your guys up with.
So presumably then these will be standardized like the rest of the Deathfield kits then. So arms, weapons, heads, bodies will all be swappable between all of them.
Yeah, across the entire range. So across the entire Deathfields range, but also across the entirety of the Damned range. So if we've got the command frame, which is part of the initial the initial goal. So all the bits from the commander's frame and box will be interchangeable with the infantry, and obviously what we can see there is all of the parts that we've got sculpted so far. This is not by any stretch everything that's going to go on the frame. There'll be loads more stuff. We've developed a habit of creating sprues with minimum 20 head options on there.
Yes. I've noticed.
Yeah, you'll be able to do every guy with the sacks, every guy with the gas mask, every guy with a helmet or without, etc.
Yeah.
To give you infinite options.
Well, that's a very good point, because I know in the past, because whenever I'm over on the Wargames Atlantic website, because there's the forum there, the Legion, and I know sometimes these sort of test renders get popped up with ideas for what's going to go on the sprue, and then people go,
Yes.
but there's only one of those rifles, and you've not got enough of X. No, but those are just the individual sculpts. It's not
Yes.
it's not a one-for-one translation.
No, no, definitely not. Some of those parts will probably get. I mean, very few. We tend to not duplicate too many
Hmm.
things, because it's just it's a bit
Yeah,
lazy, to be honest. And the sculptors are never short of additional ideas and stuff. Sometimes it's more out of necessity of, oh well, we need to make sure there are at least X amount of rifles so that the guys can
yeah,
fit at least 5 guys out with just standard rifles, etc.
yeah, yeah.
But one of the fun things about doing it this way and through crowdfunding is, the community gets a chance to say, and tell us the things that they want to see in
Hmm.
these kits. Everything we're showing, now in the campaign preview, but also as the campaign progresses through, through the next sort of 3 to 4 weeks,
Hmm.
will be just what we've done so far. So, the community are all, saying, right, well, we really want some heads that aren't post-apocalyptic. They aren't too grungy. We just want some normal heads with
Hmm.
helmets on. And we've actually had a lot of people ask for that. So that's what Rob's doing now. He's sculpting some extra heads that are just fairly neutral, so that if people want to make them without spiky shoulders and without scary heads, they can do. Then they've just got some generic, sci-fi soldiers. So yeah, so we welcome any and all feedback and comments from whether it's within the Legion, the Wargames Atlantic Legion Facebook group, or whether it's on the forums or it's on Gamefound itself. Shout out what you want to see, and if enough people shout it out, we'll do it.
Happy days. The command sprue there, I know previously the command for the
The
grognards,
Grognards, that's the one, yeah.
it had been mixed in with the heavy weapons. You're
Yes,
not doing it with this. It will be a separate full box, not
full
an
box by
add-on.
itself.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'd love to say that was planned, but it wasn't.
Oh,
Funny story. Rob sculpted too many options for the weapons teams, and we struggled to know which ones to not put on the frame. So
okay.
it's like, well, these these will all fit. This will just fill one frame. So let's
Hmm.
just do a frame of weapons teams. And then the great thing about that is it just then gives you so much more space to go to town on the command frame. So on the
Sure.
command frame, you're going to get all sorts of options, from loads of new different styles of heads to different kind of specialists, from medics to communication guys to different enforcers.
Mhm.
And yeah, we haven't actually talked about maybe having like a chaplain style guy with his I know, with a flaming cross or something like
Just
that.
administering the last rites to the poor sack-headed people
Exactly.
who've gone the way of the dodo.
That's it, indeed. So yeah, so it was a nice happy coincidence. I think at the end we were all like, you know what? I think there you go. There you can see all the different
Mm.
the weapons options. There's tons, and again, that's not everything that will go on the frame.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's really exciting. It's been really fun because I think as we've been going through the process of trying to get it all together, we've been adopting this idea of, well, it's not going to tooling yet, so let's just fine tune it till the second
Sure.
we decide it's going to go to tooling. And obviously they'll go to tooling, almost one after another, 2 or 3 sets at a time will probably go into tooling.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, obviously at that point, that's it, it's done, it's finished.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Well, at some point you've got to just cut it off,
Draw a line in the
draw a
sand.
line, do it or be damned, I think is the phrase.
That's it. There you go. Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, the heavy weapons there are particularly. I mean, there's a good range of laser cannons, mortars, big autocannon type affairs that you can really
Missile launchers.
missile
Yeah.
launchers. You can ack people down, and I mean the fact that everything is interchangeable as well means
Yeah,
if people are after some Deathfield guns for things that aren't the Grognards, then they could grab these and mix and match, because you will have spare Raumjäger heads, you will have spare
exactly.
Uran, all the rest of them that
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
start tinkering along with. And there's such a diverse set of weapons there already being worked on that you're pretty much, your bases are covered,
definitely.
which is great to see. Now,
And the little kind of crouchy down dudes that are
hmm,
obviously the weapons teams guys, you can just bang some of the riflemen, the infantrymen parts on those guys, and all of a sudden you've got some kneeling troops if you want.
little skirmishers
That's it. Yeah.
forming gun lines and the like. Yeah. There's one other group that we haven't touched on yet, and this was the one that I think is blowing most people away when they've seen, which are the brutes.
These are my favorite guys.
I think these are everybody's favorite guys.
Yeah, yeah. That big shield, and that thing's like almost like a mining pick he's carrying around with him there.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to kind of go down the route of like lumbering, you know, um, idiots.
Yes.
They're just bigger, burlier, more, brutish soldiers that have the wits about them to deal out all the damage that they can do with their bigger, bulkier
Yeah.
size.
I mean, if they can get dressed in the morning, then
There you go.
surely they can fight in the line. And we've already seen the vein shows just exactly how classy an ogre can look in the Deathfields.
Indeed,
So,
indeed. The lot of fancy pants ogres that we've got.
I can't get away from the fact, I can't tell whether or not this is some form of sea mine or if it's just an
Look like a
old school
mine,
little three-pronged cauldron that he's just popped on his head. But
yeah, I quite like the idea of being a sea, like a
okay,
hollowed out sea mine.
just great. I just
Stick
need to
some leather
stick one of those
straps on
on.
it. I'm not going to do the leather straps up. I just want them
Yeah.
on the side, because at least it feels complete there.
Well, yeah, it's very Americans in sort of World War II or Vietnam. There's a chin strap there, but nobody really wants to do them up.
Yeah, can't get it off quickly if it's got a chin
Well,
strap.
that's very true. Yeah, especially whenever you see things like this.
Yeah,
There's a lot going on, isn't there?
There is tons, and I love the fact that there's loads of big guns too. So I kind of imagine these guys as like mobile gun platforms. They're
Yeah.
just stroll like marching, striding kind of down the battlefield with these big guns, just boom, 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 just dishing out as much damage as they can.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. Why worry about getting bogged down in the mud trying to wheel something forward when you can just hand it to one of these guys and just tell them to take it up that hill?
I have a few kind of favorite parts on this. So, like the big chopper, I love. It's a kind of big over the
top. Yeah.
Yeah, bringing that down, just cleaving somebody in half. And then there's also a bit over to the left. There's an arm carrying this, but there's also a separate one. It basically looks like it's a rolling pin or a stick,
right,
with 4 grenades.
This thing
strapped to it.
Oh yeah, that's
just 4 hand grenades, just strapped to a stick. I'll beat you to death until one of these blows up.
It's a way to do it. My favorite is the giant pizza cutter right along the bottom.
The big pizza cutter.
The big pizza cutter is fantastic.
Yeah.
So presumably, then the idea is melee or
ranged.
Ranged. But will we have enough shields to go fully? That's going to be the big question.
We've been asked a lot about that.
I imagine you have.
The plan is to get three bodies to a frame. So in order to kind of fit everybody out, we'd have to put 3 shields on. Minimum. Yeah. The downside to the shields is they take up a lot of retail space on a frame.
They do.
What you might find is if there's some extra space on things like command frames, there'll be posh one. Some bigger and smaller, because we've actually been asked for them for the infantry as well. Like, can we get infantry with riot shields?
Riot shields, yeah.
So finding spaces on different frames here and there. Hopefully by the time the range has been completed, there'll be plenty of spare parts across all the frames to be able to ideally do whatever you want with them. But yeah, we've got to. It's tough because sometimes you have to make those hard decisions of like, we would love to be able to put 3 riot shields on a frame, but by the time you've filled a frame with 3 riot shields, that's a whole body's worth of space.
Yeah.
It's tough. You've got to, they say, draw the line in the sand somewhere.
But then I suppose, depending, I don't know how many you're planning on having. Do you have rough ideas of how many are going to go into a box? Because the Landsknecht ogres, you get 9 to a box. So if you have 1 per frame, then you can make them up in 3s.
Yes.
Which still works really well for most games that I play.
Yeah.
So at which point I'm quite content for one.
And there are indeed three frames in the box. So now you'll be able to make 9 total brutes from the box. So yes, you would be able to do at least 3. But if we're lucky and we've got space, squeeze at least another one on there. Or worst case, there'll be one on the command frame.
Okie dokie. Well, that's a nice sort of glimpse into what people can expect. So the campaign itself is going to be running from the end of May.
May for about 2 weeks, about 14 days. And then we will take some late pledges after that for those that couldn't get in there at the time. And then the deals in the late pledges will be exactly the same as the deals through the campaign as well. So you will get a chance to have a go back at it. But what we obviously need is people to go and support it. So if you can, you're watching this, go and give it a follow, share it with your friends, because the further we take it, the more stuff we're going to add in. And as I said, we've got at least another 4 sets, but then there's another 3 potentially planned on top of that.
Okay.
And then we've got some other exciting accessories that we're going to throw into it too. So it can go as far as the community's willing to take it. We just need the community to get involved.
Fantastic stuff. 2 very quick questions then to finish off.
Yes.
When do you think that you're going to get the stuff out for? So if the pledge or the campaign finishes in early June, mid-June, will it be a year or?
Well, it will. It's very tough to say worst case because who knows what the world's got in store.
Where is that? Yeah.
Global pandemics and any other crazy things aside, if those things don't happen, which touch wood, we're done with that for at least a few generations. We'd like to fulfill it within 12 months.
Okay.
We're very confident of filling it within 12 months. Hopefully we'll blow people's socks off and it'll be less than that.
Excellent.
But the plan is worst case 12 months, global pandemics aside.
Okay. And the other thing then, will this mean that you're going to be focusing solely on the Damned at Wargames Atlantic over that 12 months, or will business as usual keep going?
Yeah, not at all. Again, the whole point of doing the crowdfunding is giving us that chance to trial and do a load of kits all at once. What does it look like for us as a business to go here, instead of here's an infantry set, here's 4, here's 6, here's 8 sets all at once. It's what the community have asked us for. They want, why can't we have the weapons teams alongside the infantry, and then the brutes, etc. Here's the chance, prove to us this is what you want, show us this is how you like it, and then this is, builds the model for us to go and do this in the future. Not necessarily through a crowdfunding platform then. But then alongside this, business as usual. We'll get back to pumping out a kit a month is our target. And if, again, if things go well, if the campaign does really well, it arguably gives us, the opportunity to push even more product out into the world as time goes on.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you very much for taking the time, Charlie.
Absolute pleasure, Gerry, as always.
We shall get you back and have a little bit of a natter about possible stretch goals then.
I'm excited. That's the fun stuff.
Yeah. Right, folks, there you have it. That hopefully will give you an idea of what the Damned is all about. The link to the preview page is below. If you've any questions, please feel free to drop them and we will pass them across to Charlie and see whether or not we can get you an answer in the future. Until next time, bye-bye.